Tyla, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is doing well. Today is Taco Time Tuesday, and I found a really interesting topic through Pinterest today. So we're going to be talking about 20 paradoxes that will change your life. So a paradox is basically a self-contradictory statement that, despite how it sounds, can be found to be true. And we have 20 of them. So I'm going to be going through each one. We're going to talk about them and basically see which ones can be incorporated into our daily routine to enhance the quality of our life. So if you're interested, let's get into it. Alright guys, so I just want to say that they're doing construction next door at the most inconvenient time right now. So if you hear anything, please excuse that, but I'm trying my best to film and speak in between them doing their work. Alright, so for the first paradox, we have the brakes paradox. So this says, what allows a Formula One driver to fly around the track? It's not the engine, the tires, or the suspension, it's the brakes. Strong, reliable brakes unlock the driver. Build brakes into your life that will allow you to accelerate and hit turns without fear. So when I first read that, I was a little bit confused. I'm not gonna lie. But what I really just interpreted from this paradox is the importance of creating brakes within your life. So when you're constantly working, grinding, and striving towards the things that you want, that can often lead to burnout. And I feel like a lot of the time people feel like they have to keep going, but it's so important to take breaks, because in these breaks you recharge, you reset, and you're able to come back and perform at your best. So I definitely do agree with this paradox. The next one that we have is the opportunity paradox. This says, take on less, accomplish more. Success doesn't come from taking on every opportunity. It comes from deploying energy on the opportunities that matter. The 10 times opportunities. Now this one I actually did end up having to learn along my journey, and I do agree with this as well. It's not always about how much work you can take on or about just taking on every opportunity that comes your way, because not every opportunity that comes your way is really meant for you and the path that you're going on. So that's something that I actually do agree with. And I do feel like when you are more selective about the opportunities that you receive, it can really help you to excel in your career in multiple ways. So I like that one. Okay, so for the next one, we have the time paradox. This says you have to know your death in order to truly live your life. This one, I am a little unsure about. So from my perspective, what I interpret from this one is basically just living your life to the fullest each day. Now, at the end of the day, we don't know when our time really is, although we as humans, we have a lifespan, so we know approximately, what age and everything like that. But I basically just get that, we live a short life and we only live once. I put quotations around both of those. So it's just important to basically live as though your last day is tomorrow. And that one I do agree with. Okay, so next we have the fear paradox. This says the thing we fear the most is often the thing we need most to do. Make a habit of getting closer to your fears. Treat them as magnets for your energy. You may find growth on the other side. I really love this one, honestly, because so much growth comes from you stepping out of your comfort zone and facing your fears. And a lot of the time, we kind of shy away from our fears, we stay away from them. But what we really do need to do is grow closer to them and find the root within those fears. Because that's what's going to help us to not only overcome those fears, but break free and break through into a whole transformation and just step into the things that we actually desire that are outside of our fears. Our fears are stopping us and blocking us from doing and receiving a lot of things that we want. So I like that one. So next we have the fancy car paradox. It says you see a fancy car and dream of the respect you get by driving it, while ignoring the person actually driving in it. We all want respect. We believe fancy stuff will earn it. It won't. Now this I do like, because it's basically just saying that your respect is not determined on what you have. Now this one is kind of contradicting, because in the world that we live in, sadly, people do just naturally give respect to people that they see have more. And that's something that I've noticed a lot. It's sad, but it's just true. So I don't necessarily agree with this, because a lot of the time, people that do have more when it comes to materials, finances, they just naturally get respect because of what they have. And people that are naturally good people that may not have as much, and do good deeds and are good, they don't receive that respect all of the time because they may lack what the other person materially has. So this one is kind of it's kind of iffy, but I see where they're coming from, and this is the way that it should be within society. You know, people should gain respect and, you know, offer respect to those who offer it to others and do good deeds. So I do agree, but I don't feel like that one's realistic. So next one we have the looking paradox. This says sometimes you have to stop looking in order to find what you're looking for. Now this I do agree with, because when you allow things to just flow naturally and to come with you without you having to push so much effort, it just happens. And I feel like sometimes you create resistance when you're pushing and you're urging and you're wanting something so bad, instead of just allowing yourself to receive it. It's like, for example, have you ever lost something and then you're looking for it like crazy, but then when you're finally not looking for it anymore, it turns up? Like, that's such a good example. So I like that one. Okay, so next paradox that we have is the failure paradox. This says you have to fail more to succeed more. Our greatest fears of growth often stem directly from our greatest moments of failure. Now, this is a very important one that I want everybody to take and really apply this one, because a lot of the time we get discouraged when we do have failures and we do have stumps in the road, but these teach us the most important things that we need to know. And the thing is too, like, something that people don't understand is if you were to wake up tomorrow and have everything that you've ever wanted in life, you would not know how to handle it. You would not be prepared for it, and I can guarantee you that. We feel like we would be, but there's just so much that you learn in that process of grinding, working. And it teaches you so many things. It teaches you humility. It teaches you gratitude. It teaches you patience. So many qualities that we would miss out if we were to just, you know, wake up and have everything that we want. The learning process and the failure process is highly important. And I feel like a lot of people disregard that and kind of get lost in that moment of failure and in that moment of, you know, things not working out. There's literally nobody that I can think of in this world that has accumulated everything that they've desired and not failed at least once. And it's usually not even once, it's usually more than that. Okay, so next we have the wisdom paradox. This says the more you learn, the more you are expected to the immense unknown. This should be empowering, not frightening. Okay, this one is a little bit tricky, I'm not gonna lie. This one you really have to think about. I'm gonna try my best to perceive this one. And also too, with each paradox, I want you guys to leave what you get from each one as well, because we can all interpret these so many different ways. Now with this one, when it comes to the wisdom paradox, knowledge is definitely power. So you know how they say ignorance is bliss? I do agree with that to an extent, because I would prefer to be knowledgeable than ignorant. But when you don't know as much, you live freely. When you know more and you take on more information and you gain more wisdom, you start to become really sensitive to the world and to situations, to people. And it kind of just opens your mind in the sense that you start to think, man, like, what else is there that I don't know? What else is possible? You start to see all of the capabilities of what is really possible out there. So in a sense, it definitely is empowering, but to some it can be frightening. But I guess that's why they say it should be empowering, not frightening. And I do agree with that. Wisdom is power, and it's definitely better to be knowledgeable than ignorant. Next, we have the Abene paradox. This says groups can collectively make a decision that runs counter to the actual individual preferences of many members of the group. The natural desire to avoid rocking the boat prevents people from speaking up. Okay, I see this one. I see what this is saying. So I really like this one, and I'm going to tell you what I get from it. So for me personally, all this means is to not always conform to what others believe. Have your own beliefs and be able to stand firmly in that and speak up on what you believe, and not just feel like you have to always, you know, agree with the next person just to keep the peace. Now that is something that I used to do, to be completely honest. I would just conform to fit in and to agree and not to rock the boat, because I do feel like I'm an opinionated person, and a lot of my opinions do go against societal norms and what people believe. And that was something that kind of stopped me from wanting to speak up and to step into my authenticity and to express myself in the ways that I wanted to. But when you do that, you're suppressing not only yourself but your beliefs. And it's very important to make sure that you are being firm in what you believe and your morals. So I do agree with this, and it's really important to not fall into that, because especially if you're in a friend group or you're in a work environment or you're doing a project and you have people of different interests, like people all believe, you know, different things, and we have different beliefs, and sometimes it can be easier to just say, all right, I believe that too, all right, we can do it this way, but then you're suppressing what you actually feel is right. So I do agree with that in a sense. Next, we have the locksmith paradox. This says, as the locksmith improves at his craft, customers become upset by the lower time input required to deliver a fixed output. Same results, but the perception of value is changed. That's interesting. So say if you do, I don't know, you're a fashion designer and you're working on pieces, and normally it takes you about 3 days to work on a piece, but you've gotten so good at your craft to where you can, you know, create that piece within a day, and people feel upset about that, and their perception changes because of the fact that they feel you're not really putting in effort, just because of the fact that it takes you, you know, such a minimal amount of time. That's basically what I get from that. And I'm trying to think of an example, because for me, for example, I used to do art, and when I would do a portrait, it would take me a couple days, but I got to a point where I can do a portrait in a day. And to some people, they may feel like, did you really take time on my portrait? Did you really, you know, I don't feel like it's the best quality. You didn't really take your time with it, and their perception changes. So that's interesting. I never got that comment, but I can see how that would be an issue in certain situations. Personally, me, I would not mind my stuff coming back quick. If it's still quality work, even if it took you like a day or a couple hours, if it's quality, it's quality. So, hey. All right, so now we have the advice paradox. This says, taking more advice leaves you less well equipped. Winners learn to filter and selectively implement advice. Take the signal, skip the noise. This one I really love, because with social media right now, there's a lot of contradicting advice and beliefs that are going on and going around. You have to understand, there's like billions of people in this world, and we all believe and have different perceptions on life and believe different things. So with taking advice, it's really important to use discernment. That is why discernment is so important, because I'll be on TikTok and I'll see a video about something and I'm like, okay, I like that piece of information. And then I go and I see another video and it's contradicting to the one that I just watched, but that one also makes sense as well. That's when you start to develop cognitive dissonance. So it's very important to just use your discernment when you hear and see a piece of information. If it is beneficial to you and it's something that can actually improve your life, then taking it. But if not, and you feel like it's not beneficial, or it's just causing you more confusion or distress or anxiety or whatever the case, then disregard that piece of information. All right, so next we have the persuasion paradox. This says, persuasive people don't argue. They observe, listen, and ask questions. Argue less, persuade more. I feel like when you listen more than you speak, and you ask more questions, then you're able to persuade more. You don't always have to argue and make yourself so known and try and force your beliefs onto somebody else, because that doesn't come off as trusting. When you're, you know, forcing what it is that you're trying to say down somebody's throat, as opposed to just being able to listen and observe and being a student. All right, so next we have the effort paradox. It says you have to put in more effort to make something appear effortless. That's kind of interesting, and I do kind of agree with that. Even though it's confusing, I do kind of agree with that. Because when you see something done really well, a lot of the time it comes off like it's just natural, but there's usually a lot of work put into it. So say when you see somebody that looks really nice, they put a lot of effort into the way they look, but they come off as effortless. Or when you see a skill that somebody does, oh my gosh, like literally there's these videos that I see on Instagram and TikTok where an artist is drawing 2 portraits at one time, and he'll have a pencil that has 2 attached to it, and he'll be drawing. It looks effortless, but he's putting in a lot of work. That takes a lot of work to do. So I feel like underneath everything that looks shiny and glamorous and, you know, really special and amazing, it's a lot of effort put in behind it. So I do agree with that one. All right, so next we have the productivity paradox. This says work longer, accomplish less. Parkinson's law says work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Work like a lion, instead sprint, rest, repeat. Okay, so yes, this is kind of going back to like the break paradox. So basically, if you're just going and not taking that time to rest, and you feel like working longer and extended hours is, I guess, going to help you accomplish more, then that's basically where that comes in, because then you get depleted and you don't have as much energy to really perform at your best. So basically working like a lion, like it says, sprint, rest, and repeat. That I agree with. All right, so next we have the desire paradox. This says desire leads to more achievement and more suffering. Desire is a powerful force for growth, but the quest for more often distracts from the beauty of enough. I love this one. Oh my gosh. Guys, this one is so important, because a lot of the time we get distracted by just wanting and wanting more and wanting more. The thing that I don't feel people understand too is when you have an achievement or a goal, say you set a goal and you achieve it, right? There's always more to achieve. Like, there's never going to be enough when it's material and it's outside of just what you desire and what you feel and what you're grateful for. So this is actually a very powerful one. And desire, it does lead to achievements, which is basically what this is saying. But it can be dangerous, because then you get caught up in just constantly desiring and not being grateful for where you're at and what you already have and the beauty in that. So I really like that one. Next we have the choice paradox. This says more choices, less satisfaction. In a world of abundance, what we truly crave is scarcity. I'm a person, I don't like having too many choices. I'm not gonna lie, options is kind of stressful to me. I don't like having too many options. Options are nice, but it just distracts you. And not only that, but there's always going to be options in everything, and with options comes kind of wanting more. So I feel like less is more in a sense. And that even kind of goes into like back in the day, like they didn't have as much as we do now. We have so much technology, we have the internet, we have social media, we have all of these, you know, systems and all of this stuff that's really distracting us. We have too many options, and that kind of just takes away from the present and us just being in the moment. All right, next we have the destruction paradox. This says those who seek to destroy us sometimes spark the fire that allows us to grow. The injection of chaos makes you stronger. I see. Okay, so it says can turn into positivity, negativity. That I do like. Those who seek to destroy us sometimes spark the fire that allows us to grow. Yes, this is powerful as well. Because the thing is, when you go through something really deep and it's something that's meant to destroy you, it's either going to make or break you. That can cause you to really boss up and evolve and grow. It's really those tough moments in life that really make who you're meant to become. And that's really a part of the process. So I do believe that those really destructive moments, those really dark, deep moments that you experience, definitely can help launch you into the success and the abundance and just the higher version of yourself that you're looking to become. So I really do agree with that one. Now we have the growth paradox. This says growth happens gradually, then suddenly. The best things in life come from allowing compounding to work its magic. So yeah, I do like this one personally. That one's kind of a bit more of a simple one. It's basically just with time comes growth. All right, so now we have the social media paradox. More connectedness, less connected. Which is true, and I kind of was talking about that a little bit earlier. The fact that we have social media and all these things, it's distracting us from really being present. And although we have so many ways to access each other and access people all over the world, and it makes us more connected in a sense, it's really disconnecting us from having those genuine connections in real life. All right, so now we have the speed paradox. It says sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. Slowing down gives you the time to deliberate with your actions. Yeah, so this one and the other ones that I was speaking of are kind of like similar. Basically just taking those breaks in between. And last but not least, we have the action paradox, which says sometimes inaction is the most powerful action. Action is about progress. Stillness, inaction can create it. Oh, that's interesting. To be honest, for me, in my moments of inaction and when I'm just being present, that's sometimes when I receive some of my best ideas. I receive a lot of guidance. And yeah, so I definitely can understand how that can create more action and traction. So that's it for this video. I do hope that you guys enjoyed. This one was really fun to do, I'm not gonna lie. Comment down below which one is your favorite. I think mine is definitely the fear paradox. So yeah, thanks for joining me for today's Talk with Ty Tuesday. Subscribe to stay tuned for more. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Share it with somebody that you feel may like it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out.
Look at the streets, you are not my mate. If you become a chef, not be head of state. But my people then go say I know one bite, I know one die.